Taylor Swift was listening to the audiobook in her documentary. Us Against You was already sad enough. What I'm basically telling myself is that I need to buy more books. Is his wife. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be going through my spring TBR and all the books that I want to get round to this spring. So I recently did my March and April TBR video and I will leave that linked down below or on the screen in the corner. As I went into detail of all those books in that video, I'm just going to quick fire through those ones. So we've got The List of Suspicious Things by Jenny Godfrey. This one is basically a little cozy mystery. We've got The Favourites by Lane Fargo. This one is a bit of a drama story tell-all about these ice figure skaters, kind of like Taylor Jenkins Reid, where it's like fictional but makes you kind of think that the characters are real life celebrities. Sally Rooney Intermezzo. This one is about two brothers who I believe are quite estranged from each other and quite different to each other, and just a little bit about their lives. I don't really know too much about what this one is about. All the three books in Philip Pullman's Dark Materials, which is I believe like a young adult fantasy or maybe even a children's fantasy. We have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Six of Crows duology, which is another fantasy. And then we've got The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson, which is the first book in a fantasy duology maybe. The same author as Dance of Thieves, which I absolutely love. So those are the books on my physical TBR for March and April. And then I will quickly run through the other books that are on my physical TBR because I'm always trying to get to my physical TBR no matter what the month is. So these will also be on my radar for spring. So the first one is The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni, which is the second book in the Prison Healer series. How many books are there? Is there just two or is there three? There's three. I'm very excited to get to this one. I'll go into a little bit of detail about these ones because I didn't go into detail about them in my TBR video because they didn't get picked. But this one we follow Kiva, or is it Kiva? I can't remember. And she is a prison healer, and in the first book we basically followed her try and heal this rebel queen that got sent to her, and she basically got threatened to keep the rebel queen alive, but because the rebel queen has been arrested for being a rebel, she has to partake in these impossible trials, which Kiva volunteers herself for instead because she wants the queen to be able to survive. And she goes through those trials, and then this one follows on from it, but the prison healer ended in quite a dramatic way, so I'm very excited to get to the next book. Then we have The God of the Woods, which I actually think is kind of quite a spring-like book, maybe? I believe it's a thriller. It says one family, two missing children, a mystery that won't stay buried. Or maybe it's like just a mystery. Oh no, literary thriller. Kind of like a thriller that's not that thrilling, like you have to go in with the expectation that it's more of a mystery and it's not like on the edge of your seat, because I think it's quite slow paced. So I think that because I've been set up with those expectations, I'm hoping I really enjoy it. It's been on my TBR and on my radar, but I mostly got convinced to get this one physically for my TBR because I saw Taylor Swift was listening to the audiobook in her documentary. Only thing is, this cover compared to the American cover, yeah. And then finally we've got Frederick Buckman, The Winners. This I'm so excited for, but I also am really not. And I'm kind of dreading and I'm kind of putting off. I'm like subconsciously putting it off. Like I'm not consciously putting it off, obviously, because I just said I'm subconsciously putting it off. I just think that I don't want to know what happens in this book because I've seen some tears and I'm a bit terrified. Us Against You was already sad enough. And those are the books that I have physically. And I also have Queen of Shadows, which isn't technically on my TBR because I've already read it, but I'm doing a reread of the Throne of Glass series. I'm currently nearing the end of Air of Fire, so then this one is the next one. I'm doing these as audiobooks mostly because for me, I can't listen to new books as audiobooks because I just don't take it in. I will not listen to some of it and then I'll have to rewind and I will just get confused because I'm not a very, what's it called? I'm more of a visual person. But to listen to audiobooks of books that I've already read and do that as a way of rereading books rather than rereading them physically. And then I also have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Technically not my book, it's my sister's, so it's technically not on my physical TBR, but I really want to get around to this series. I've been meaning to get around to it for so long, and my friend has convinced me and my sister just read it as well, so I've stolen her copy and I'm gonna read it. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard a lot of people say it's very sad and maybe too sad to be enjoyable, but I think that's on the later books. I think this one is still going to be sad, but I think the later books is where it gets like too sad to be enjoyable. I'm quite excited. It's quite a thick one, but everyone says it goes really fast. In terms of the books that I do not have physically, I have a list on my phone that I want to go through. These are the ones that I've selected because I think that they would be really good to read in spring, or that I'm just so desperate to read them that I need to read them in the next few months. The next one we've got is the X-Files. How many times has this been in a TBR video? And I still haven't even bought it for one, let alone read it. I kind of want to get the physical copy, but I never see it in Waterstones, at least in my one, unless it's got a different cover in the UK. No, it has the same cover. I just never see it. I could just order it online. That is one that I need to get to because I keep saying I need to read this one and I keep not reading it, and I think it would be quite a good one to read in spring. I think it basically follows these two exes, obviously, and they go to a wedding, which is also very obvious from the title. I believe they're both friends with the groom, because at first I thought one was a bridesmaid and one was a groomsman, but I think they might both be on the groom's side, and they're both very important people at this wedding. And I love a wedding and I love a second chance romance, so I really do want to get around to that one. Next we have The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Again, this has been on TBRs so many times and I've never read it, because if I don't buy a book physically, or I don't put it on my Kindle and actually buy it, I don't read it. What I'm basically telling myself is that I need to buy more books. But this one has been on my TBR so many times, I actually just need to read it. And I'm really excited to read it. I've heard really great things about it. The only thing that's been stopping me is that it's not on my physical TBR. I am kind of now waiting because it's been long enough. Let's actually look when the paperback comes out, because it really annoys me when I buy a hardback, like with The Favourites, wherever that's gone. With The Favourites, I have a hardback copy. Don't get me wrong, I do like a hardback sometimes. I'm not completely against them, but it's been so long since I bought the hardback that the paperback is now out, and anything to take up less room on my shelf, honestly, because I do not have enough room. I probably should have just waited and got the paperback, because it's taken me so long to read that the paperback is now out. So I don't want that to happen with The Knight and the Moth. May. That's still spring. Okay, maybe I'll wait for the paperback. Yeah, she can see things in her dreams, and she has a mysterious knight arrive at her cathedral. Her fellow diviners, which is what they call them, they can see things, vanish one by one. She has no choice to seek his help in finding them. So they kind of team up and try to find these other peoples, and some weird things are going on. And it just sounds really good. I've heard really good things. Next we've got The Bright Years by Sarah DeMoff. This one looks so interesting. I've heard such amazing things about it. Like, I don't think I've heard a bad review. I love the cover as well. Again, I have not seen this one in stores. I think I just don't look properly is my problem. This is how I've spelt The Bright Years, in case anyone was wondering. I mean, it's got it from that. Google is an amazing thing. So it follows Ryan and Lillian. They're deeply in love, recently married, and now parents to a baby girl. Lillian has a son she hasn't told Ryan about. Ryan has an alcohol addiction he hasn't told Lillian about, and Georgette comes of age watching their marriage rise and fall. So I think it's like about family dynamics, about secrets. I don't think there's much of like a plot for me to tell you. It's just kind of like following the story of this family. Then we have Just Friends by Hayley Pham. This one I'm so excited for. I absolutely love Hayley Pham. She is one of my favourite booktubers, and it's so exciting that she's written a book, and I believe it's Childhood Friends to Lovers, which is probably my second favourite romance trope after Second Chance. I'm very excited to read this one. It looks so beautiful as well. I kind of want to get it physically. I've yet to see it in a store. It has only just come out, to be fair. It hasn't got the best ratings, but it's her debut book. You shouldn't judge a book by other people's ratings. And I also think she got a lot of hate and a lot of fake reviews on Goodreads, which I hate fake reviews on Goodreads. The people just write 1 star. They haven't read it just to hate on the author, because then it just messes up the reviews and you can't get an accurate review, and it's so stupid. You're gonna hate on an author just because she was a booktuber before. If you want to be a famous author and you're that jealous that she got a leg up, you become a booktuber, because it's not easy. She's done that whilst also writing a book. Anyway, I could rant for ages. The next one is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I love Alice Feeney's books. Well, that might be like, I love Rock, Paper, Scissors. The rest of them haven't been as good for me. I liked His and Hers. There was another one I liked and I always forget the name. But most of her recent ones I haven't really enjoyed. So I'm a bit apprehensive about this one, but I do really want to read it. I read everything she comes out with. And this one does have a 4.16 at the moment, so that's pretty good. I don't actually know the plot of this one. Oh my god, the main character has my name. You can tell I didn't read the plot because I didn't even know that. Eden Fox, an artist on the brink of her big break, sets off for a run before... Is this going to scare me because it's got my name? Before her first exhibition. When she returns to the home she recently moved into, Spyglass, an enchanting old house in the pretty seaside village of Hope Falls, nothing is as it should be. Her key doesn't fit. A woman eerily similar to her answers the door, and her husband insists that this stranger is his wife. Oh, no, this is going to scare me. What's her husband's name? Because if it's my boyfriend's name, I'm scared. It sounds like there's a woman and she comes back to her house one day and she's not remembered by anyone, and her husband has a whole completely separate life to her. Can I just say, Alice Feeney has commented on my Instagram once, so did I inspire her? Imagine. Alice Feeney, comment down below. How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. This one is the same author as Holiday Romance, Snowed In, that kind of Christmas book series. This one is a non-Christmassy one. I believe it comes out this month, if it's not already out, and believe it must follow 2 authors. Another one of my favourite tropes in romance is where there are 2 authors, like Beach Read. A romantic comedy about a writer with writer's block who must finish her late father's fantasy series with the help of a hotshot editor, Sam, at his ramshackle... It's kind of giving Beach Read. Father issues and the 2 authors is basically it. Oh, Joy PV. I'm excited. I love holiday romance. I don't know if Catherine Walsh has any other books that aren't Christmassy. I'm excited to check this one out. It's also, I mean, it only has 592 ratings, but it's on a 4.19 at the moment. Then we have The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. Meg Schaefer wrote The Wishing Game, which I really, really enjoyed. Her books are kind of like a literary fiction with a tiny bit of romance and a little bit of magical realism / fantasy. They're often in the fantasy section, but I wouldn't actually class them as a fantasy. You know what I've realised in my old age? As I've grown older, I have realised my memory is terrible. I used to think that I had a good memory. I don't know who I was kidding. My memory is actually terrible. I will walk out of a room and I will not remember. Why does it come up with H's? Conversations with my hairstylist. The Book Witch is a fantasy novel about Rainy March. That's a cool name. A book witch who enters books to fix them but falls in love with a fictional detective. That sounds good. I'm excited for that one. I think that comes out next month. We have Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. This one is similar to The Bright Years, where I've just heard such amazing things about it. It's a historical fiction novel set in rural England that blends romance, mystery and thriller elements, exploring themes of first love, loss and secrets through a love triangle that resurfaces. Oh, it's a love triangle. But I don't think it's like a romance book. The thing is, I really hate love triangles in like romance books, but I think it's more kind of like literary fiction romance, so maybe that wouldn't be so bad. You know, in these like AI summaries, I get scared that it's gonna spoil something because it's really gone into detail there and I'm scared I've gotten something spoiled. The last book that I have on my spring TBR is How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. Now this really isn't giving spring at all, but I've seen so many people read it recently and it looks so good. I love the cover. I love the name. I love How to Kill a Guy... What? I love How to... What's the name of the film? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I love How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Love the cover. I don't actually know anything about it other than it's like a thriller romance, I think. Does it have a different cover in the UK? A slasher rom-com. Like, doesn't that sound amazing? A woman gets trapped in a speed dating event with a killer who's murdering the attendees. I thought it was going to be the woman who was a murderer. Oh, it's got a different cover. Maybe I prefer that cover. Paperback isn't coming out till July, so it might have to be a Kindle book. And those are all the books on my spring TBR. Please let me know if you've read any of them or if you're planning to read any of them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe down below, turn the bell on, and you'll be notified every time that I upload. And if you want to, you can follow my social medias at _libraryofeden on both TikTok and Instagram for more book content. And I'll see you in my next video very soon. Bye!